How can someone eat more fat, remove almost every plant food, and still lose body fat dramatically? It sounds strange at first, maybe even impossible. But this is exactly why the carnivore diet has become one of the most polarizing nutrition topics on the internet. Some people say it changed their life. They lost weight, controlled cravings, improved blood sugar, and finally escaped years of digestive problems. Others warn that it may raise LDL cholesterol, reduce gut microbiome diversity, and create nutrient gaps over time. So, who is right? In this video, I am not here to sell you the carnivore diet, and I am not here to scare you away from it either. The goal is simple. Look at the best available evidence, separate real benefits from hype, and understand the risks clearly enough to make a smarter decision. Let's start with why so many people report powerful results. The largest real-world data we have comes from a survey of over 2,000 adults who followed a carnivore-style diet for several months. Now, this is important. This was not a randomized clinical trial. It was self-reported data, which means we have to be careful with the conclusions. But the reported results were still interesting. Many participants said their overall health improved. Many reported better energy, better mood, fewer cravings, and improved digestion. Their average body mass index also moved from the overweight range closer to a normal range. For people with blood sugar problems, the reported changes were especially striking. Some participants with diabetes reported lower HbA1c levels and reduced use of diabetes medication. This makes sense mechanistically. When you remove sugar, refined carbohydrates, ultra-processed foods, seed oils, snacks, desserts, and constant blood sugar triggers, many people experience a rapid improvement in appetite control and glucose stability. In other words, part of the carnivore diet's power may not come from meat being magical. It may come from removing almost everything that was damaging the metabolism in the first place. No cookies, no pizza, no cereal, no healthy snack bar that somehow has the nutritional profile of dessert wearing a fitness costume. Just meat, eggs, maybe dairy, and almost no decision-making. That simplicity can be powerful. From a lipid perspective, the short-term picture can look mixed. Many people on very low-carb diets see triglycerides drop and HDL cholesterol rise. That usually improves the triglyceride to HDL ratio, which is often considered a useful marker of metabolic health. But this is where the story becomes more complicated. Because in many people, LDL cholesterol also rises, sometimes mildly, sometimes dramatically. And for a subgroup of lean, active, low-carb individuals, LDL can rise above 200 milligrams per deciliter. This pattern is sometimes called the lean mass hyperresponder phenotype. That matters because LDL particles and ApoB containing particles are not just random numbers on a lab report. They are involved in the development of atherosclerosis over time. So if someone says, "My triglycerides are low, so LDL does not matter," that is too simplistic. And if someone says, "LDL went up, so the diet is automatically dangerous for everyone," that is also too simplistic. The honest answer is, you need to measure it. Especially ApoB. Because ApoB gives a better picture of the number of atherogenic particles circulating in your blood. If ApoB is high for a long time, that is not something to ignore just because you feel good today. Now, let's talk about the gut. Human studies show that diet can change the gut microbiome very quickly, sometimes within days. Animal-based diets can increase bile-tolerant bacteria and reduce bacteria that normally feed on plant fibers. This does not prove that carnivore automatically damages your gut, but it does raise a reasonable long-term question. If you remove fiber completely, You remove the main fuel source for many beneficial gut bacteria that produce short-chain fatty acids like butyrate. Butyrate supports the gut lining and plays a role in immune and metabolic health. So, while some people feel better digestively on carnivore, especially if they were reacting badly to certain plant foods, the long-term effect of a zero-fiber diet is still not fully understood. This is why carnivore may work very well as an elimination diet. For someone with bloating, food reactions, cravings, or unstable blood sugar, removing almost everything for a period of time can help identify what was causing problems. But using carnivore as a lifelong diet is a different question. Short-term symptom relief and long-term health optimization are not always the same thing. The next issue is nutrient coverage. A strict carnivore diet can be rich in protein, B12, zinc, selenium, iron, and fat-soluble nutrients, especially if it includes eggs, organ meats, seafood, and some dairy. But depending on the exact version, it may be low in vitamin C, thiamine, magnesium, calcium, potassium, iodine, folate, and fiber. This does not mean every person on carnivore will immediately become deficient. The human body is more adaptive than internet arguments suggest, but it does mean that if you follow this diet seriously, you should not rely on confidence. You should rely on testing, food quality, and long-term monitoring. The biggest mistake is treating carnivore like a religion. If your blood sugar improves, great. If your cravings disappear, great. If your weight drops, great. But if your LDL and ApoB rise too high, your kidney markers worsen, your uric acid climbs, your sleep suffers, or your digestion becomes worse, you do not win extra points for ignoring the data. Your body is not impressed by ideology. It just sends invoices later. So, where does this leave us? The carnivore diet may be useful for some people as a short-term therapeutic tool. It can help with weight loss, appetite control, blood sugar stability, and food elimination. But the current scientific evidence is still limited. We do not have strong, long-term clinical trial data proving that strict carnivore is safe or optimal for years. The main concerns are elevated LDL and ApoB, reduced dietary fiber, possible nutrient gaps, gut microbiome changes, high saturated fat intake, uric acid, and kidney stress in susceptible people. If you decide to try it, do not guess. Before starting, check your baseline labs. Then repeat them after 8 to 12 weeks. Look at fasting glucose, HbA1c, fasting insulin if available, triglycerides, HDL, LDL, ApoB, kidney function, liver enzymes, uric acid, electrolytes, vitamin D, B12, folate, ferritin, and inflammation markers such as HSCRP. And if ApoB rises sharply, consider modifying the diet instead of pretending the number does not exist. That could mean choosing leaner meat, reducing saturated fat, adding fish or olive oil, adding low-carb vegetables, or reintroducing a moderate amount of clean carbohydrates. The real lesson is not that carnivore is a miracle, and it is not that carnivore is poison. The real lesson is that removing ultra-processed food can be incredibly powerful. But extreme restriction should come with extreme honesty. So here's the question. Have you ever tried carnivore, keto, or a very low-carb diet? Did your energy, blood sugar, digestion, or cholesterol markers change? Share your experience in the comments, because real-world stories matter, especially when we combine them with actual lab data. And if this video helped you see both sides more clearly, like, subscribe, and share it with someone who wants nutrition information without the usual internet shouting match.